with all of this in mind, the main specific purpose of our legislation is to improve the way that students update their emergency contact information so that the largest number of students who wanted to receive emergency text alerts could receive these ones.
Okay, so as a basic summary, this was kind of inspired by SR 1007, which came before as improving the learning environment for the perceptive faculty. So this one's just looking at the students within a classroom to make sure that they're equally safe. On September 28th, as we said before, not all students were able to receive text alerts because they were in a classroom setting, and there's no direct way to reach students in a classroom setting. They don't run news channels, they don't run updates. I mean, some classes don't allow computers, and so the most direct way, as we learned from ITS, is really to do a text alert system. Also, we're calling for it to be added to registration. In the current process, it's not required that there's a policy that says it is required that you update your emergency contact information, but they are not enforcing it. So students are getting left out of this text alert system, and it's also not very accessible for students. Currently, some of the links are buried in pages with faculty links, and so it's hard to find exactly where you update this specific information for this text alert system. And so really we just want to make it an easier process for students, and by adding it to the registration process, that means that students would have to update it every semester, and so the information would be the most current. And also it would allow students, they would have the option to also opt out of the system if they did not want to incur charges of text messages.
So just quickly running through the legislation, it starts off discussing the importance of safety protocol, especially in light of the September 28th situation. SR 1007 addressed part of this issue by calling for a uniform response for faculty, but we need to take steps for students. Lines 18 through 28 describe the role that emergency text alerts play in maintaining a safe classroom environment. And as Jordan described, the current system, each student has to go in and update their own page. However, they're not prompted to do this on a regular basis. So lines 42 through 47 describe the current lack of visibility in this process. Sorry. And then, so in order to maintain a safe academic environment, we're asking to add this page to registration for state levels.
So moving on to the resolve statements. In the first resolve statement, we're suggesting, as has been said, that we add a page to the registration process that allows students to update their text alert preferences. And this page would have the same information that's currently there for the first time that you input your contact information, which is your cell phone number, your carrier, as well as the option to opt out of receiving text alerts in the first place. And also, we are asking that students are notified of this change in updating of emergency contact information.
And just to finish up, our next steps for this process would be we would work with the registrar's office and ITS to hopefully implement it for spring 2012 registration.
Questions?
Ashley Jennings, Communication Council. I know they are talking about the problem being, people are graduating, they're still getting these texts that had opted in way back when. You're still offering a choice to opt out. So what's your guarantee that those students that opted out when they were freshmen signing up for this are going to all of a sudden change their minds? I just know we're still offering them an opt-out option on the page.
Well, I think the main thing for this is that we can't guarantee there will not be charges. So if students don't want to incur that charge as far as the price of a text, they can opt out. No matter what, you're going to be receiving an email from the university saying that there's an emergency situation. The problem and the reason we were looking at text alerts is because not everybody will have access to their email, whether their laptop is not allowed in class or they don't have a smartphone. And this was just addressing text alerts specifically, and since there's a cost involved, we figured it was best to give students the option to opt out.
just on the reason that people who graduated were still getting the text, it was only because the system hadn't been updated. So once the 12th class day comes along, they're on the system. So.
That's mainly why we chose registration, because you have to do registration every semester to complete your coursework, so it forces students to update their information. The loophole was that they didn't always send information to students to keep them updated on the process of how you update emergency textual information. So not all students knew they either had to do it or the way they could do it. So oftentimes the loophole or the information that was dropped and the students that didn't get informed was because they just hadn't done anything and didn't know they should. And so by adding it to the registration process, it would force the students to do it every semester, and it would be like part of your registration process. So before you finalize your registration, it would be you would have to update your information.
And also, the system only updates on the 12th class day because it's updating 50,000 cell phone numbers, so it's a huge endeavor that they do, and that's just if everybody's registered before then there's no problem. If you register afterwards, it can take till the next cycle for you to get on the system.
Chris Wilkins, Undergraduate Studies Council. How much will all the costs increase by making this an opt-out service?
We're not changing the system. The system is an opt-out system. This is only basically making that system more visible to students so that it's not just something you see once when you first register to come to UT to update to put in emergency contact info. It's something that you see each semester, the same form, in case your number changes, in case your carrier changes, or you've changed your mind. Now you have unlimited text messaging, and now you can get free text messages about university stuff. So it's not creating anything new. It's just taking something that we already have and putting it in a more visible place.
How would you feel about adding a community to both the university application system before the first day of the semester, as well as again on the 12th day? If it's just a computer program, why not have people's information in by the time the semester begins?
The system that we have is a pretty expensive one. VP for Safety was explaining it to me, and it sounds like it's a very kind of rigid thing that's how they update it. But we can talk to their office and see between now and the next time.
Any questions? Okay, seeing none, take this back to the council and invite the questions. Favorite part of the evening. As the outgoing Senate President, I would like to honor Dean Deal as an honorary member of the Sonoma College Councils. Dean Deal has long been one of the most student-friendly administrators and deans on this campus, but this year I think he redefined what it meant to be a dean who's here to serve students. The College of the Arts was kind of thrust into the spotlight at the beginning of actually my term this time last year, and he, I think, immediately responded to the calls of students in a way that completely raised the bar for what that means to be more students. And so CTVAC and everything we show support, it wasn't cool to show support for CTVAC. So just thank you so much for saying that here. Is there a motion to approve Dean Deal as an honorary member of the Sonoma College Council? Motion to approve. Second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, it's official.
I'm thrilled with this. And I'm I have to say the CT-back process that the Senate put into motion, and Chelsea played a major role there, was extremely helpful to the College of Liberal Arts as we grappled with our budgetary problems. The recommendations that the Liberal Arts CT-back group announced about a month ago actually had a big effect on my own thinking before making the final budgetary decisions. The recommendations were thoughtful, constructive, helpful, rigorous, and it's just what we needed. So I very much appreciate the student input, and I really appreciate this. Thank you.
SR 1019, honoring James D. Tallarico as the honorary Senate member. This year, Jimmy has been phenomenal as a leader in student government, really just as a leader for students in general. He's gone out of his way since the beginning to reach out to the Senate College Councils and really combine our resources to serve students to 100%. And I think if you've been around here long enough, you know that that is huge. To really go above and beyond politics aside, ego aside, everything, and just really be here to serve students. And so I think he's an example to all of us in this room as student leaders, as someone who's put students first and foremost, both at the Capitol and here on campus. And so that is their motion to approve SR 1019 honoring James Tallarico. Motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor, please say aye. Official, you're a Senate now.
Well, if I had known this was going to happen, I would have wore something other than jeans. So I didn't have a surprise honoring. I'm kind of lost for words. I was looking at Matt Portillo's agenda when I walked in. I was like, that's strange. That's something new. I was actually at summer orientation my freshman year. The first organization I ever ran into was in the college councils, and I got a t-shirt and everything. So this really does bring it full circle, I feel like. And to echo Chelsea's words, I want to say thank you, not only from me, but from student government and the student government executive board for just the tremendous amount of support that we got from the Senate this year. I think we've really proven that Senate and student government are equal partners on this campus and can do great things when they work together. I was, countless times surprised by the passion, the intellect, the professionalism of not only Chelsea and the executive board, but all the at-larges and all the members of the Senate as it works with the legislature. I couldn't imagine a better team to work with. And I really did feel like a Senate member. I know I walked into the Senate office many times in the Senate. I wish I was in the Senate. So I guess this is official. This makes me a Senate member?
Yes.
Okay, I'm putting it on my resume. But thank you all very much. It does mean a lot.
Tax, and there's a on the trailer I want y'all to see so that you know it's not just a tax document.